We're live. It's 45 seconds after 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. We are live. And some nights we do the show live. Most nights it's taped to air. I finished the, I don't know, hour and a half long transmission tonight or so, 30 seconds before we went live here. So in a few minutes, they're rendering that out right now. We're going to complete that. And again, I've committed that we want to always get on at 7. Because I respect the fact that tens of thousands of you tune in to see the live stream, and then more than 50,000 overnight download the MP4 after it goes up. And we couldn't do this without you. In the show, I talk about the fact that it was about 5.5 years ago, Ron Paul was starting his first presidential run. Well, he ran in the 80s for president, so I guess his second presidential run, he's had 3. And our listeners, Ron Paul came on the show and pointed out that the millions he was raising, half of it was from our listeners. And I was very proud of that you're such activists, because the audience was maybe 600, 700,000 a day on the radio, a few million a week. That's large, but it wasn't the 15 million a week it is now. And I was proud of that. And people said, hey, you should have a money bump. And I said, you know what, I just want to stay with 8, 9 crew members, and I just want to put my films out, and I just don't want to be a big guy. But I was being harassed, I was being threatened, I was being told to back off. I had, somebody slap suit me, which I beat. And I was like, wow, I mean, already I've been doing this, 12 years or so at the time. Now it's 17. And I said, I guess I do need to fight the globalist. I mean, other people aren't doing it, so I better do it. And back then, I worked 15 hours a day, some days 18 hours, some days 24 hours. And I didn't really get to spend a lot of time with my first 2 children because of that. I still don't spend time with my children because of that. While I'm sitting here live, there's a phone in my pocket buzzing and beeping with them calling over and over again saying, please, Daddy, I left at 7 a.m. this morning, and they just want me home. I left at 7 a.m. this morning. But you know what? They can just wait, because there's no future if we don't beat these people. It's very, very simple that a lot of people laid down their lives so that we wouldn't be slaves. And I'm not going to sit here now and not put out the maximum effort I can in the fight against the globalist. That's why it's so important to not give money next week with the money bomb. I mean, that's important, but not as important as realizing we're not going to have this free internet. We're not going to have this free speech. We're not going to have this as wide open as it is right now, very, very long. In the words of the establishment themselves, if we don't beat the globalist, they're not giving us quarter. And what does quarter mean? Pirates, if you go back 500 years ago and then through the great age of pirates, 200 years ago or so, the golden age of pirates, 17 to 1800s, they would hoist a black flag, meaning we're going to kill you if you don't submit. And then if that wasn't enough of a message, they'd put a skull and crossbones on it. They'd run it up and say, you submit and let us rob you, and maybe we'll let you live. If you don't, no quarter, we're going to kill you. In the military, you hoist a red flag, meaning no quarter. In some cultures, a black flag, same thing, meaning no quarter. A white flag means I give up. You hoist a black flag or red flag, and then I hoist a white flag if I give up. Well, let me just say this. I'm firing my cannon like Colonel Travis and Jim Bowie when Santa Anna raised his red flag and he had 2,000 plus troops. Well, it was 5,000 total, but 2,000 combat troops and a bunch of cannoneers and the rest of them. And they fired a cannon back, saying, well, there's our answer. Because it meant you give up or there's no quarter. And the globalists have said no quarter, and they mean no quarter. They poison our food, our water, all of it. I mean, this is real. What I talk about sounds crazy because our ruling elite are crazy. They are insane. They are out of control. And so I realized that, you know what? I want humanity to have a future. I don't want to turn society over to the craziest, wildest, nuttiest dictators. Because Santa Anna was an angel. Even though he was a dictator even in Mexico, they overthrew him there. Compared to what we've got now. He just wanted to dominate everything and be, what do you call himself? The Napoleon of the West. The Napoleon was an angel compared to these people. What we're dealing with now are just the ultimate control freaks. And if you vote with your dollars like you've done against GMO, it's going to open up new frontiers of liberty. If you vote with your statements and your resistance against the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, that's going to break down. You know, people hundreds of years ago said no to slavery. It got phased out. When the general public moves, nothing can stop them, even if there's a technocracy. And so, more importantly than donating at InfoWarsMoneyBomb.com, which you can do now in the build-up to next week, 48-hour transmission, spread the word. Tell your friends and family about PrisonPlanet.tv. Tell them about PrisonPlanet.com. We're fighting the construction of Prison Planet. Tell them about Infowars.com, because this is how we've grown to this level. I mean, I am truly grassroots. I started out 17, it's almost 18 years ago, 2005. How many years? How many years ago is 2005? 1995. I started out on air in 1995. That's 17 years ago. And I started out on Access Television, and because I had passion and some basic facts, I was able to get a local radio show, and then I got ratings on the weekend. And then I got ratings on weekdays. And then a syndicator came along, and I was only on 10, 15 stations. But it built a core and was able to fund a website and filmmaking. And if we were reaching 5, 6 years ago, a couple million people a week max, now that's a big deal. And we're now reaching conservatively 15 million a week. What could we do in a few years? We could be reaching 50 million. It's a big deal. And I'm not creeped out by the fact that they could come arrest me, set me up, or kill me. That's in the cards. I'm creeped out by the idea that I won't perform to the expectation of my ancestors, who performed admirably time and time again. And that's what we stand here at the threshold of. Will you perform in the face of this evil? What's your medal? What does your humanity stand for? Who are you? You know, none of us are perfect, and the system tries to make us hate each other, hate ourselves, and have self-loathing and be anti-human. I'm pro-human. I don't care what color your skin is or where you came from. You bleed red blood. You love your children. And I'll tell you something, I love your children as much as I love my own, because I realize that if I don't love all the children, my children aren't safe. It's a very simple, basic human equation, and I believe in humanity. You know, they have the movie The Devil's Advocate, where the devil says, I'm a fan of man, I want to build humanity up. That's a lie. The devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. The devil is not a fan of man, and the idea of when I said I'm a fan of humanity, I believe in humanity, I get emails saying, what, you're the devil? That's a Hollywood movie with Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino. The devil isn't a fan of man, God is a fan of man. The Creator is a fan of life and prosperity. And if we'll do the basic things that the Creator has put out there, and if you don't believe in God, you know, the stuff in the Ten Commandments is a pretty darn good idea. Doing unto others as you'd have them do unto you, as Christ said. Laying yourself down for others. When I was a kid in Sunday school, that doesn't sound too good. I want to live. But then I realized when you're willing to lay down your life, you probably won't have to, because you're not a nation of sheep. You're not a people of sheep. Wolves go after weak things. If you're ready to get it on, people are going to start fights with you most of the time. But it can't be an act, ladies and gentlemen. It's got to be real. You've got to be ready when that bully starts to fight with you to smash their skull in. Not because you want violence, but because you don't like bullies. And I don't like bullies. And it comes down to that. It's that simple. And you've got to be committed to that idea. Because let me tell you something about this universe. They teach you there's all these gray areas. And there is gray areas in our own daily lives. None of us are perfect. But when it comes down to good and evil, there's black and there's white. Okay? When it comes down to making that decision in your heart, what you're going to serve, that's black and white. Okay? And we're here doing something big. This is something historical that's happening. And as Martin Luther King says, the universe bends towards justice. We are not just battling against flesh and blood. We're battling against something much, much bigger. But we've got something on our side much bigger as well. So make no mistake, we are at the crossroads right now. Go to InfoWarsMoneyBomb.com. Support us. Man, if we got $50 million in, Katie barred the door. Instead, you know, we could just keep along at the same speed. I told him about 3 months ago, I said, I'm not doing a money bomb. We got the money to probably keep going like we're going. If I can sell some products, we can pay for everything, probably. But then I look at the bank account, got a couple months operating capital, everything shuts down. That's not enough, folks. You know, businesses and operations try to have a year, 6 months. We only got a few months. We're not a business. We operate as a business to fund ourselves in the free market. We're not communist, socialist, or fascist sucking off people. We're free will, free association. But then I see detractors who get so mad about the money bomb. Let's show those detractors that they can go right to hell that they love so much. Let's make this the biggest money bomb ever. Even though I'm promoting it 7, 8 days out instead of a month out, let's raise $1 million. Let's raise $1 million. If those of you out there via free will give money instead of having it taken by the private Federal Reserve via the IRS, if you'll give thousands of dollars if you have it, or $10 if you don't, if you'll go get a subscription, if you'll tell your friends and family, even if you don't have money, they want to turn the economy off so you have to submit, tell people about the money bomb. Tell them about the 48-hour transmission that's coming up, and help us get the word out and really make a change. Because, again, the system is so angry of this idea of people paying to bring down the New World Order, voting with their dollars, free will spreading the word, people voluntarily paying instead of having it taken without their permission, forced on them. This is pure free will. You want to fight tyranny? Donate to us. Spread the word. That's even more important. You want to fight tyranny? You don't like this? Then decide to fight the globalists. You think Alex Jones is going to beat them? No, I'm not. But I'm going to tell you this. I know that if I expend my full energy on this, that it will leverage and trigger others to be leaders and resist, and that in this chain of events that we're witnessing and the leaders that we're trying to bring forward, that it will be the downfall of the New World Order. Because we're going to lose if we submit. We're going to lose if we decide we don't have power. We're going to lose if we decide to just stay small and do our little thing. Little things are the big things. I mean, when you do little things, they add up to big things. But I think of myself as I said earlier, well, I'll just do this little thing and then maybe it'll be a big thing. Then I realized, no, I've got to commit and make the big thing happen. And that's where it's at. This is destiny. This is history. If we beat these people, and I know we will, if you choose that destiny, when we beat these people, they're going to look back on this and it's going to make 1776 pale in significance. It's going to make the Alamo pale in significance. It's going to make Runnymede and Magna Carta pale in significance. It's going to make the rebellion against slavery in this country and other nations pale in significance, because this is about unlocking our minds and getting out of mental slavery. This is history that we are on the cusp of, that we are on the verge of, and I just am amazed that at the very front of the line, the very tip of the spear, going in against the globalists, not caring what their propaganda says, their peer pressure, their death threats, their slap suits, their attacks, their audits, none of it means anything because humanity's behind us and we're going into the breach. Cry havoc and release the dogs of liberty against the tyrants. We're telling the bullies, you think you're badass? Let's see what you got. I know in my heart and my mind and my soul and my intellect we can beat these people. But you have to realize it isn't Alex Jones that's going to do it. It isn't Rob Dew. It's not Jakari Jackson. It's not Melissa Melton. It's not Aaron Dykes. It's not Paul Watson. It's not Steve Watson. It's not David Knight. But it's all of us together that want liberty and freedom, that realize what's happening, standing up and saying, I'm putting the cards down, the chips down. It doesn't matter. You may kick my butt, but you're going to get one hell of a fight. And you know what? There's 1,000 more of us right behind me. And it is in that commitment and in that sacrifice and in that all-in decision that the real power starts to flow. The power that our species really has. Not the power of the bureaucrats and the parasites and the collectivists and their gangs, but the real power of humans that believe in the family and God and liberty and free association and ideas to build up humanity, to build up humankind, to build up mankind, instead of saying that government and centralized systems are going to deliver us to the stars. Government will deliver us to hell. Freedom and humans made in the image of God will deliver us to Valhalla, will deliver us to heaven. All right, here is another edition of Infowars Nightly News, offered to you to use this weapon of truth if you so choose. This is your mission if you choose to accept it. Here is the transmission.